The Very Serious Crafts podcast is on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/seriouscrafts to support our podcast, find out about our Patreon half-stitched episodes, and more.
Hello, and welcome to Season 5, Episode 3 of the Very Serious Crafts podcast. I'm Molly from Wild Olive.
And I'm Haley from Red Handled Scissors and the Bones and Bobbins podcast. Today, we'll be talking about our favorite make-in-a-day projects.
Yeah, that's a good idea, right? Just make it in a day. No problem.
I feel this way, right? Usually the day of any gift-giving occasion.
Perfect.
And generally about the day before Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong?
Well, before we discuss all of the things that can and will go wrong, we want to give a shout out to our serious friend, our new serious friend of the Very Serious Crafts podcast, who is supporting us at patreon.com/seriouscrafts. Many thanks to Nikki. You're the best.
Thank you, Nikki. Welcome to the family.
Yes, hi, Nikki.
All right. So now we're going to talk about why this is a bad idea. No, it's not really a bad idea. In fact, this topic idea is, I think, a wonderful one, and Fruitful Art on Instagram suggested that we talk about this today.
Oh.
So I thought, all right, let's talk making a day projects, which at first sounds simple, right? Because that should be a relatively simple project. I would even venture to say that many people make more complicated projects in a day. But
I'm sure they do.
I'm rarely one of those people these days. I used to make a lot more small make-in-a-day projects.
Yeah, well, I guess that was like back at sort of the height of being a craft blogger.
Yeah.
I also used to do that at least significantly more often than I do now. I mean, let's be honest, I like to make complicated things and then write complicated tutorials. That's my jam. Mm-hmm. But now that you got me thinking about it, I keep coming up with additional make-in-a-day things that have been dawning on me as we've been talking.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of surprised that they didn't occur to me earlier, because a lot of them are like very obvious.
Well, good. I think that the conversation will naturally lead us to those things anyway. But like when I think because we do love things like embroidery, cross-stitch, English paper piecing, those are generally projects that just take longer because, I mean,
just inherently.
Right. I would also say that a lot of these projects, a lot of these ideas come down to how fast you work on things and there's nothing wrong with that. But like, some people think that I'm a very fast stitcher, and maybe I am, but also routinely I will like put like a free pattern out that I haven't stitched yet because it's a free pattern and I don't always stitch up samples of those things. And like hours later, someone has posted a picture of their finished stitched version of it. And I'm like, wait, what? That's amazing. Mm-hmm. So, some things come down to speed. I will also say, sometimes projects will tell you how long they're supposed to take. And I think it's a lie. Maybe it's because I'm just a lot slower at things. And that's also fine. But I sometimes do look at certain projects and they give an estimated time. In fact, there's a book that I have that every single project is broken down into, oh, this is something that takes 1 to 2 hours. This is like the, around 4-hour mark and so on. They're grouped that way.
That's asking for trouble.
Yeah, the whole book feels like a lie to me. So, if we're talking about making a day projects, sometimes I think our own expectations are a little bit, you have to set your expectations, right?
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And I feel like, at least at this point in my both making as a hobby and making as a career, it doesn't occur to me anymore to try to speed up the things that I'm doing. Like, at some point, it occurred to me that I wanted to be a faster knitter.
Right.
And that's when I switched from English to Continental.
Yeah.
And like did a bunch of things like that. But it didn't stick. I mean, I still knit Continental.
Yeah.
Continental. I'm just losing some consonants, don't mind me. But I it would be satisfying to me to be able to work as quickly as some of my friends do, which is like not even looking, having a conversation, and just turning out rows of sweaters. Like,
yeah.
I have good hand-eye coordination, but that is not, I don't know. Maybe I just didn't start trying to be faster early enough, so I've just got that muscle memory now.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, same with stitching, although there are absolutely techniques. You and I believe, stitch the same way.
Yes.
That can make it faster than doing stitch by stitch.
Yeah.
But I am not a particularly fast stitcher, even though that is literally what I write books about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think, like, even if your speed of making something is a little bit slower, a make it in a day project sometimes more comes down to the scale of what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Or the number of ingredients in it.
Then exactly. The even sometimes it's like the time it takes between steps. Yeah. Like I recently made a little like clay project. Well, you have to let that thing dry at least overnight. Maybe it's sometimes for several days. So even if your active time is minimal, the time for things to actually cure or whatever, it expands. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So, but if we're talking about things that you can actually start and finish in a day, one of my favorite kinds of go-to projects is ornaments of any kind. They're small.
I have to make those complicated. I am incapable of doing a quick ornament of any kind.
But even with lots of pieces,
you make really cute ones.
Thank you. Even with lots of pieces, though, like you can do some felt applique. I just made some Easter egg ornaments. I designed them for Cloudcraft, and I mean,
they were really cute.
Felt flowers that are pretty simple. You could keep adding more and more embellishment, truth be told, I made a set of 3 of these ornaments, and I was working on them over a couple of days. But if I were to only do it, like only work on that, I could have probably made all 3 of them in a day, no problem.
Sure.
So, yeah, but I love little things like that, and they just feel like it's really satisfying to take all those pieces and work with them and feel like at the end of the day you made something beautiful which is I think that's kind of the point of this whole topic anyway, but little things like that, I love them. I love them.
I think it also depends on whether or not you've made it before and have already like laid down the groundwork. Because like I can knock out a skirt quite quickly.
Right.
But that's because I've already cut and fit the pattern.
Yeah.
So all I have to do is cut out those pieces, and then I don't really have to think about the sewing process because I've done it already before. And so, yeah, I guess there's a wider variety of that kind of thing than I wouldn't usually think of sewing clothing as a thing you could do in a day, but it absolutely is. My friend Sonia Phillip wrote a book called The Act of Sewing, and she also designed some very, very simple, like, tops, skirts, trousers that are not necessarily needing to be fitted. Like, they're made to just be easy to wear and comfortable.
Yeah.
And, I mean, cute, because you can make them out of whatever you want to. And you can modify it in any way that you want to. But her book came out, and it sort of united all of the patterns that I think I've been collecting her patterns for like a decade. But it sort of united all of them, and it's very satisfying. It's sort of along the same line as making ornaments. I like to make things with glass. Like
I have
wine
never
bottles.
I don't think I have ever made something with glass before.
Weird.
I mean, I've like decorated jars, and that would be about the closest thing I have gotten to it. Interesting. Never thought about that.
Yeah, well, I don't do this very often because I live in a very small apartment, and you need water to cut glass and to sand it down without putting glass into the air and breathing it, like, and I have cats.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since I've done it, but it's very easy to cut off the top of a wine bottle and make like a glass drinking tumbler out of the pretty green glass.
Yeah.
You can also cut it into chunks, and if you have a blowtorch, which I don't, for the record.
I know, because I know that this is like one of the things that you have wanted, and I feel like it's probably gonna, like, I could see that within the year you will probably procure a blowtorch.
Yeah, I think that's happening.
I'm predicting that.
Yeah, but my microwave kiln will stand in.
Oh.
So if you cut relatively thin rings of glass, you can melt that glass down, melt the edges to smooth them, and make jewelry, like pendants and stuff like that. And I love doing that. I think it's so fun, but it's been so long since I've done any of that. Same with like shrinky dinks.
Yeah.
Like, I went for a while, I was making shrinky dink buttons just constantly.
Again, how have I never made shrinky dink buttons? I do shrinky dinks a lot. Well, a lot.
How
like
have
often
you
enough.
never
How
made
have I never
shrinky-dink
made
buttons? It's so easy to make like little like
super cute little.
Yep, the smaller the button, the more sturdy it is, but you can make just adorable custom buttons. I do believe I have a tutorial, probably with a template.
All right.
If and you need one.
I mean, you realize I could make my own buttons, and I could put faces on them. I could have buttons with faces. My life has
Molly,
changed
why
forever.
have you not done this? I don't understand. Yeah, my brain is just sort of like, you know that meme where the stages of enlightenment
Yes,
are happening? My
just
brain
happened.
has reached the top stage just right then. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well,
Yeah,
we know
so
what Project Molly has coming up soon.
Right? So I didn't really think when you put the topic on our planning document, I didn't really think that I had anything to add that was really just like a normal, quick project. I mean, I've got like a crocheted cat bed that you can make in a day. Your arm's gonna hurt, but you can make it in a day.
Can't make it in a day. You have pattern weights. You have
the pattern
weights. You know.
Also, those are pretty quick actually.
Yeah.
But and I used to, and I don't anymore, and I don't know why I don't. I used to do a new Valentine card every year that was a very simple cross stitch. I think they have thus far all been Doctor Who themed.
Fun.
But those could be done very quickly, and they look really cool. And because I'm not making them complicated, because it's really hard to stitch on paper with teeny tiny holes close together.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so there's just way more variety in the things that I have maked. Wow. Sorry, I got 4.5 hours of sleep, so I'm not all there.
It's all good.
There's a lot more variety of like one-day projects that I enjoy making than immediately came to mind.
Yeah.
I didn't think there were any.
Yeah. Well, one that came to mind, and then I kept forgetting about it, and then I was like, okay, so the 1 hour basket, which is like well known in crafting and especially sewing circles.
Yeah.
And like that's what it's called.
Is that the clothesline one?
No, it's I mean it basically is just like it's a fabric basket that sits flat.
Oh,
it generally has little handles. But there's a lot of versions that have existed. And in fact, I think it used to be a free pattern back in the days of Craftsy letting people upload their files, and then it all changed, and in the midst of that,
I have time traveled.
Yeah.
Just now.
In the midst of that, I think the free 1 hour basket sort of went away, but it's still available for purchase. It's not very expensive. You get extra versions, different ways to make it. I will get a link to that in the show notes, because it's a really versatile kind of a pattern. And I've made several of those. I've made them for my guinea pigs to have little like cuddle sacks to lounge around in. I made one.
I love it when you make things for your guinea pigs. It makes me very pleased.
Well, at some point I have more sewing that I need to do for them actually. So we should do like a whole pet sewing or pet crafting episode sometime.
I think we have done a pet crafting.
We probably have. I know pets come up regularly, but
we should do it again.
Yeah, there's always more projects, right?
Always.
But so the 1 hour basket, again, it's one of those things that I've made that project a bunch of times. I don't think I've ever successfully made the whole thing in an hour. It just doesn't work for me. But
I don't think I have ever made anything within the allotted time period.
Yeah.
I'm either orders of magnitude faster or orders of magnitude slower. There is no in between.
Yeah. So I
except for when I'm teaching, I guess.
There you go. But that's, that for some reason
that's
is a different thing.
Paste.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Don't have a choice.
Exactly. So yeah, love that. Which now then makes me think of a project that I didn't think of before, which is I have made several like simple project bags that way.
Oh yeah, me too.
Non-zipper project bags specifically because that's
like the
my
drawstring
thing.
ones.
Yep. Which are great for like socks or other small projects. But
I thought I was picturing you wearing them as socks because
you actually
autism.
I mean, you could.
You could.
You know, like when you have like a repair person comes to your house and they put the little like scrub booty, foot covers. It would just be like that, but reusable. It's great.
I mean,
no, I meant like your sock knitting project. But anyway,
I've caught up. It just took me a moment.
But yeah, little project bags. That's a great sewing in a day project. Yeah. Again, I have pieces cut out for several project bags that at this point they have become like 6-month projects simply because I cut them out, haven't finished them. So the same project you could make in a couple of hours, you could also extend for months and months, but that's a whole separate thing.
We're very good at that.
Yeah. Another thing that came to mind is like, maybe they're like out now. I don't know if this like is not even a cool thing to make anymore, but like mug rugs, they had their moment, right? But I think that
but they're useful.
They're so useful that I feel like even if they're not like the cool thing to make, they're still a useful thing to make. And the ones that came to mind for me were specifically, it was a set that I made that were more like if you took a standard coaster size but stretched it out into a rectangle. And I made them with felt and fabric. And I did a lot of like fusing things together, but also adding some hand stitching. And they had little woodland animals on them. They were in a Molly Makes Woodland themed book. And because
I love that you were in a Molly Makes book.
I was in several of them, and it was like, it felt so perfect to be able to be in that.
I love that magazine.
Yeah,
that magazine still exists.
It does still exist. Yeah,
I enjoyed that.
It's a good one. But so because I made the animals as like cutouts from fabric, and then just added a few embroidered details, it was one of those things that didn't take nearly as long. Like I could make really a whole set of 4 of them in a day, which is, again, great for if you're making gifts, but also really nice to be able to feel like you've made something for yourself and it's all done.
As a callback to a recent episode, guinea pig mug rugs.
Oh my, why haven't
I don't
You're
know.
just full of all the ideas that I need to do, and now I need to actually start taking notes. Okay. Make buttons with faces. Okay. Typing sounds in the background. Make sure they're shrinky dink buttons with faces. Guinea pig mug rugs. Okay. Good. All right. I'm ready for any more brilliance that you want to throw my way.
I mean, you could always sew a guinea pig patch on literally anything.
That is true. And I do have sketches for guinea pig embroidery patterns in my sketchbook right now. So these things, there's gonna be things like
coming.
that. They're coming. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do feel like you need a mug rug, and maybe that the guinea pigs themselves need guinea pig quilts. Teeny tiny guinea pig quilts.
They would like that very much, so that they could make a mess all over them.
Well, yeah.
Obviously.
That's how this works.
Exactly.
Maybe not the most complicated of guinea pig.
No, they won't be complicated, but they should have, I'm set to make them some new fleece bedding. So having a matching blankie or two to go with it needs to happen, obviously. So
how can it not?
Exactly.
Yeah. I also like if I'm ready to get in the mess. Candles is a thing that you can make a whole lot of in one day.
Yes. See also soap making.
That's true. Although, doesn't that have like a multi-step, multi-day thing?
I'm thinking of like...
And need a mask and a ventilation system?
Well, I'm thinking of the, like, you buy the soap that just you can melt down and add some things to, and then, you know, that kind of, like...
That makes...
Basic,
yeah.
You know,
so
entry
just
level.
Like candle making.
Yes, exactly. Entry level soap making.
I clearly am incapable of making anything simple, but my friend Kim Worker made soap for a while, and I just remember like the photo of her in the like massive respirator, with the gloves and the lye and I was like, yeah, that's too much danger for my apartment.
Yeah, I have not ventured into that. Even just microwaving the soap blocks to melt them down is, I mean, it just smells of soap. So that's a strong enough scent for me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is fun. In fact, my go-to like small gift that I gave to a bunch of friends was, I think it was Heidi from My Paper Crane who showed this on her blog way back in the day.
Wow. Yeah, we're just digging up all the old school craft bloggers.
She made soap in popsicle molds so that it actually went on the plastic popsicle stick, so it looked like a little popsicle, but it was soap.
That's adorable.
Yeah, and I think I made it like orange dreamsicle scented, and it's just...
I would just eat it. I would accidentally eat it. Full stop.
It has just enough soapy smell to go with it, so yeah.
Friendship bracelets are also a fun one day sort of...
That definitely depends on the pattern of friendship bracelet you're making.
That's where I'm headed. I learned yesterday, actually, that when I was younger, I could not figure out how to make flat friendship bracelets. And I didn't have one, so I couldn't reverse engineer it.
Yeah.
And so I made up my own weaving method with loops. And I learned yesterday that method has a name and is a historic, like, sort of I-cord,
cool.
Substitute, not really substitute, but it is a way that cording has been historically made, and I completely did not know, but I independently invented this technique that I then found out yesterday was an actual technique for making, like, drawstrings and things like that.
That is delightful. What is the name of the technique?
It's from the Middle Ages.
Okay.
And it is called finger loop braiding, apparently. And if you are making things like brays, you might want to make this strong little cord.
Oh.
And I will send you a link and I'll post it in the show notes. But it's one of those things that just like, oh yeah, I know how to do that.
Okay.
So did the Middle Ages, as it turns out.
So this one that I put onto my list might be surprising because it sounds like it would take a lot longer, but I have absolutely made like simple felt stockings, like a set of them in a day. But also I have not exclusive, like, again, we're talking basic kinds of things here.
Oh,
but
I
also
just clicked through.
I have also made them, the link that I'm including here, these are not Christmas stockings.
No, they're really cute.
They're Valentine's Day stockings that I made out of their felt hearts, and the idea that my mom requested that I make these because she wanted a way to have little Valentine treats for everyone in the family. And I've also made pumpkins, but the pumpkin ones were not made out of felt. They took a little bit longer. They're lined for purposes unknown, but they're nice. They're
Listen, sometimes you just gotta.
Yeah, exactly.
I line most things that are not needing.
Yeah.
Lining.
There's been talk that there needs to be like an Easter version, like so that they're like Easter basket stockings, but I don't know that that's really necessary. We'll see. It could happen still.
I mean, Easter egg stockings.
Yeah. I mean, Easter eggs would look more like how these hearts are, but there's, I think, well, really, anytime that you are making stuff out of felt, it can come together a little bit faster than. Sorry, I think there's workers outside my house.
There are workers outside my apartment.
Yeah,
that are making noise.
Yeah, okay.
But I think I just saw someone behind you. So.
Yeah, there's definitely things going on. Okay.
I just saw something again.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, so either you're haunted or
I don't know what's going on. So if there's extra background noise, apparently people have appeared in my yard. Anyway, what was I saying? Anything that you make out of felt, there's a different, like, you don't always have to have the same kind of finishing that goes on with those kinds of projects because it doesn't fray, and that automatically
is so nice.
It automatically makes that project come together a little bit faster, and that's really helpful. So I
accidentally bought a bolt of felt once.
Yes.
And I mean, I think we've all seen the gray felt that I used for everything.
Oh, okay.
For
that
several
explains
years.
It.
And like all my cat beds, all the things. They were all gray felt.
It's a good color though. It's very versatile.
It was.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to order a bolt of it, but I did, and I made everything out of it because it didn't fray. It looked nice because it was sort of heathered, and it made my sewing life a lot easier. And it's also, there's some sturdiness to felt.
Yeah.
So you can do a little bit more with felt than you might be able to do with fabric unless you want to introduce some stabilizer into your game.
Yeah.
Or some canvas.
And that was even a thing that I was thinking about. A project that I have made in a day that I really like is any of the tutorials for like the little fabric trays, like the little mini ones that, you pinch the corners together and things like that. And I have made a number of those through the years. Love making them.
Mr. Big Stuff is sleeping on a giant version of it behind my computer screen right now.
How perfect. But I've made those out of felt as well. Same idea. It's just, it comes together quickly. It's got a nice finish to it. And that's nice for like a
catch-all on your dresser or something like that.
Yep.
Rings, earrings, stuff like that. And they make really nice gifts.
Yes. Yeah, and there's
because they look finished. Like, they look like...
Yeah.
They look like you put thought into it. And, I mean, obviously you did if you're making it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look rushed.
Right. And, if you're just doing it out of felt, there's ways that you can add other embellishment to it that you can spend your time on, adding a little bit of ribbon or stitching on some cute buttons or things like that don't take up as much time. So, yeah. Well, but really, like, honestly, any small sewing project is likely to fall into this kind of category of make it in a day, generally.
Yeah.
I like those
I
ones.
mean, more things than I had initially thought fall into this category.
Yeah.
Or at least scaled down versions of a lot more things than I had originally thought.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of looking forward to putting together the show notes for this particular episode because there were so many surprise additions.
Yeah. Yeah. Good ideas that they're the things that you do want to pull out when you need to make a last minute gift, or you go, hey, I'm going to have a day where I get to just relax and make whatever I want to make for myself. Like, and you want to take full advantage of that. Have you ever had
one of those days? Because I've never had one of those days.
I'm thinking of our amazing listeners here, okay?
No, I think we should. I think you and I should schedule one of those days.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah. I will say, my sister recently asked, would you be at all interested in, like, if we were to, like just rent an Airbnb for a couple of nights and go and, like, we could just watch television there instead. And I thought, to be able to, like, go be in another house and just, like, sit there and make something all day, that...
Oh, no, this
would be perfect.
That is exactly the reason that I have a membership to a co-working space that I haven't been to since before the pandemic, but because sometimes you just need to go sit someplace else.
Yes.
And do the thing that you are planning on doing or supposed to do without the distraction of things what need doing around you at home.
Yeah, it's true.
Because those things can wait. Like, if you are able to relocate and not do them and the world doesn't end, it's fine.
It's just actually committing to doing that. That's the hard part.
Oh, I'm not saying I've ever managed to do it. I aspire.
And I think in some ways, talking about some of these projects and, like, saying, okay, you could just do this in a day, it's aspirational.
Yeah. I kind of want to make
but they're also doable.
Candles today because I've been cleaning out candle jars.
Yeah.
Which I accidentally made a mini tutorial about.
It's fantastic.
Because people kept asking how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that was my first TikTok video.
Look at you.
Oh no. I do not understand. I need to read the getting started documentation.
Okay. All right. I've decided I'm not touching TikTok. Reels is essentially that, but
well, you can do the same thing. You can auto share to your Instagram.
Yeah, I know. I can't have another thing.
Which I just learned. Which is why the same thing is on both of them right now.
Multitasking.
I mean, I hate new platforms.
Same.
They just make more work.
Yeah, they do.
Although I do like mindlessly watching TikTok videos.
Yeah, I fall into the same thing with Reels. So I
can waste a lot of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of time, we should probably wrap this up and move on to the next project, which is actually the next half-stitched episode for our amazing patrons. So yeah.
Yes, that is true. Because we're chattery today.
We are in an especially
free floating.
Yeah,
kind of way.
That's it.
Or free form.
Yeah, perfect.
Anyway, thanks for listening to the Very Serious Crafts podcast. you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Serious Crafts and on Facebook at Very Serious Crafts. You can also find show notes and all things Very Serious Crafts at veryseriouscrafts.com. And finally, if you are a fan of the Very Serious Crafts podcast, pretty please leave us a 5-star review on whichever platform you use to listen to podcasts, because good ratings help us show up in recommendations, which helps more people who love crafting find us.
We appreciate it so much.
So much.
We appreciate you so much.
Always.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Thank you. And happy crafting, I guess.
Well, there's a lot of ideas on the table.
There are. Good luck choosing one. This is terrible.
So
I sound so like no, seriously. I actually want good thing. All right, I'm going to end this with a really short story. Okay. And then we really will end this. The other night I was with yesterday. This happened yesterday. I was with a friend of mine that is part of the disability and inclusion ministry that is at my church. Mm-hmm. And one of the participants, I was inviting everyone if they would like to make a craft with me. And she said, Molly, no, I don't want to do this. And I said, what do you mean? Crafts are my life. And she said, oh, Molly, you are just too desperate. We need to get you a man. So friends, crafts are my life. I don't think I'm so desperate that I need a man, but I don't know. Maybe she was right. Maybe that's why I'm pushing the crafts too heavy here. I don't know.
Listen.
This is how
why
it is.
Why not do both? You could do both if you wanted.
It's possible. I'm open. I'm open to all things here. But anyway.
Oh my goodness.
This is apparently where my brain is. So that's the end.
I am amused and delighted. And on that note, I will talk to you very soon.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Thanks
Bye,
for listening.
Everybody.
Bye.